Hi, I'm Susan Blaine, and I'm here with Coreen Bouchard.
Good morning.
I'm really excited to have you here. And Coreen is an entrepreneur. She's the founder and VP of Sales of Pure Logic IT Solutions. PureLogicIT.com is their website. Hi, welcome to Sharing with Susan B, telling stories from the heart. We're looking to inspire, telling stories of struggle, vulnerability, and lessons learned. You were little.
Yes.
You said you wanted to own your own business.
Absolutely.
Because you were inspired by your grandfather who owned his own business.
Correct.
And your dad was in sales, but you didn't know what you wanted to do. You grew up in Carleton Place.
Right.
Painting fences was one of your first gigs. You were a cashier at Loeb's grocery store. You went to Carleton Place High School. So she's a real local girl.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about your volunteer, because I know you're really big in supporting women in the male-dominated IT industry.
Absolutely.
You're an active board member of the Canadian Information Technology Providers. You're a member of ITAC, which is Information Technology Association. Women in Defense and Security, and you also do some work with the Wounded Warriors of Canada.
That's correct.
Mind Trust with the fourth year business students at Telfer.
Yes.
You do work for the food bank at Carleton, in Carleton Place, and STEM workshop for young girls at the Carleton Place High School. And 2008, you became a real entrepreneur and you founded your own company, Pure Logic IT Solutions. So what are you passionate about these days?
So there's lots going on. I think for me, it's growing the business right now, continuing this amazing growth path that we've had, our culture, looking at technology and what we can do in terms of the emerging tech, a lot in cybersecurity these days, which is really interesting. I've got 2 little kids and a husband that keeps me busy as well. So
An entrepreneurial life sometimes can seem glamorous to people. Oh, you make up your own hours, you've got freedom, and they see all the success that you're having, but it's not without struggle.
correct.
So let's talk about your biggest business struggle.
Starting the company in 2008, we went through this great growth path, had lots of great coaches, a lot of help around us, and we tried to diversify and go out west. So we went out west in 2014. The market in Ottawa was changing a little bit with the government of Canada, so we just tried to kind of diversify our company.
Which is usually a good move.
It's a good move, except for we didn't see the oil tank coming at us and ran us over, as well as the US dollar switched at that exact moment. So in
around
2015, yeah. So in fact, we went from really interesting expansion plans to absolutely tanking in that year and trying to not only pick up the pieces, but make sure that we survived.
Yeah.
And so at the end of 15, we went from a survival mode right to the year of stabilization, which I called 2016, and having that huge reduction in expenses, keeping our staff, talking about what we need to do, changing our focus, really looking at what we did really well, and shedding everything that we were kind of half doing a little well.
Which, in some cases, I mean, you can't always experience the high, right? There's lows too. It's about, life is about peaks and valleys.
Yes.
We talked about that you had to change your actual title from CEO. You had to shift your focus, which was
It's a big thing. So as the founder of the company, my husband joined us 2 years later into the company. We had a lot of testing for him to come in, and of course he passed the test and joined the company, which was quite fun.
That's great.
But that 2015 was a real eye-opener for both of us, really looking at what are we passionate about, what do we do best, what do we not want to do, what can we do but it kills us every day in doing. So we really had to realign, and part of our coaching through this, we worked with TEC. We had 2 different coaches sitting at the table with us working through this transition, and it really was that eye-opener saying, we need to make this change. I am willing to give up my title of CEO to the world, to give it to Dave, and Dave really stepped into that role. We defined our roles, we carved it, and then I was able to focus and go back to do what we did best, hence the year of stabilization in 2016, growth in 17, double growth again in 18, double growth again in 19. So it took a lot to actually give my title up and my responsibilities up when I was actually the founder.
Is it an ego thing?
It was
Come
a little
on,
bit.
yeah.
It was a little bit,
For
absolutely.
sure, for sure.
Yeah,
And that's a bit of a personal
yeah,
struggle, and especially
yeah.
when you founded the company, right? And
Absolutely.
you deserved that title of chief executive officer, but then you got back to the basics when it was tough and when you had to
Yes.
streamline
Absolutely.
and change focus and focus on sales,
Yeah.
which is what you're good
That's
at.
what I'm good at. And so for me, what I was really proud about was all these changes we rolled out over a 6 to 12 month period. Every single one of our team members stood up and they stood behind us. They listened to us. They gave us input. They didn't know exactly where we're going to, but at the end of the day, they're still with us, which is really
That's
proud.
great. That's
So,
a real strong
yeah.
testament to your leadership
Thank
and
you.
the strength of the organization. Let's talk about personal struggle.
Absolutely.
Working with your husband.
Okay,
Can't always-
where do I start? Do you
Can't
get the
always
notebook
be-
here? No, just kidding.
Can't always be easy, right? We've had a few
No.
couples. I've filmed with a few
Okay.
couples that
Interesting.
are working together, and they talk about it's not easy sometimes to separate work life from professional life. Some of them actually work out of their home, so that makes it even
Right.
trickier, right?
Yeah. So basically, working with Dave, it took about 2 years, to be honest,
Find your groove.
to figure it out. We both had coaches at the time as well, and we were able to take advice from other working couples. So shut it off after 45 minutes at home. It's okay to come home and talk about a problem that's lingering, but you need to know when to shut it off.
Yeah.
Being really vocal about when's on and when's off time. And then I think staying within your boundaries. So that's something over the last 8 years we've done really well on. But that transition from CEO was an interesting transition because people were used to coming to me.
Yeah.
And now they're going back to Dave for things. And
How does that feel? 'Cause
so I had to remember why. Why are we
Yeah.
doing this? And
Yeah.
and that's really what came
Kept-
down to. So even though I knew the answer, I couldn't be the only person answering all the time.
Yeah.
Or I had to enable and teach somebody as well, which was huge for me.
Which is a great lesson learned, right?
It was, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
empowering other people to
Yes.
lead.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
We talked about mummy guilt.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm glad that we're
Yeah.
talking about that
Yeah.
because a
Yeah.
lot of women in business, a lot of female entrepreneurs, because you know what it takes.
Yes.
And especially when you've got the peaks and valleys and building your business and and raising 2 kids. And I know you went back to work real quickly.
Exactly. So with the first child, I went back around 8 months, still involved with the business a lot and stuff. But the second child came really quickly after the first one, and it was right at that 2015
During that
hardship,
challenging time,
really.
yeah.
So I went back after 4 months, and I ended up. I was in several board meetings with a baby in the corner. I'd had clients, partners come in, and the baby was near me or around me, and our staff was good. They took them away as if it was a real problem, but at the end of the day, you still need to be that mother to that child,
and you
so.
feel like you're not giving as much.
Yeah,
And so what that whole work, family, life integration is really challenged, right? So what are some of the lessons that you've learned?
So I feel like nothing can be perfectly balanced between family.
Don't lose
life.
that word. It doesn't
It
exist.
cannot be
Perfect.
perfectly balanced between work, family, and your own personal health. So I find what I learned was accept the moments for what we have, and then when it's time to give more to work or give more to your family or give more to yourself, take that time when you need to, because otherwise it's just going to consume you. You cannot be perfect at everything, and perfectly balanced, in
No,
my
you'll
view,
kill
does
yourself.
not exist. Exactly.
Yeah, you can have everything, but you just can't have it all at once. So what advice would you give your younger self?
Well, I think the fact that I went for it at a pretty young age without having the family commitments was excellent. Listen to people who want to advise you and help you. There's a lot of great advice out there. There's also people that you may trust early that have intent that you don't necessarily know about. So it's kind of a fine balance between taking that help and then later in life, that help may not actually, you don't have to live by that help.
No. You can pivot.
You can change.
Yeah, you can pivot. I mean,
you can
that's what it's
change.
about. You got to readjust. What we just talked about
Yeah.
in terms of your business. You had to readjust. You had to pivot. You had to change. You had to shift, right? You have to be open to that.
Exactly. And the other piece of advice I'd give is sometimes you're in it for the glory, or people think that you should be in it for the glory or recognition. And of course, we all want to get the awards and different things and recognize that. But at the end of the day, your business isn't who defines you. It may be a large part of you, but it's not who you are.
Yeah. It's not.
So really taking
Because
that back,
when that goes away,
it's gone.
yeah, what do you got?
It's
so
gone.
it can't be what defines you.
Yeah. So
sure.
so being willing to take that and make that separation, I think, is pretty important.
Good advice.
So, thank you.
Rapid fire questions. Are you
Okay.
ready? Some fun facts
Okay.
about Coreen.
Yes.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Okay. Only Superman because he can fly.
Okay.
Yes.
It's good enough for me. A favorite food indulgence?
Craft dinner, and actually super craft dinner, which is even better. And I actually have craft dinner socks that I'll wear sometimes.
Craft dinner socks while you're eating craft dinner?
Absolutely.
Someone you admire?
My father.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something not too many people know about you?
I'm only almost 5 foot tall, so I often wear a good 4 to 5 inch heel, and people think I'm much taller than I am. I personally feel I'm 6 foot plus
Of course
tall.
you do.
Yes.
Something that always makes you smile?
Fresh flowers in a garden.
How about a favorite movie, book, or a quote?
Okay, so it's actually a song, I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty. That has been my anthem since I was probably an early teenager.
Love it. What's your definition of success in one sentence?
That's a tough one. I think looking around the room and having an accomplishment, and you look around and realize everybody at the table or in the room was part of that accomplishment, and that they can recognize it themselves, that they were actually there to achieve it with you.
Team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that to me is huge.
Oh.
Yeah.
Coreen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan.
Find out more about Coreen Bouchard, purelogicit.com. She's on Facebook as Coreen Redman, and she's in LinkedIn, so check her out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great job. Thank you.